Thank you so much, Akansha. I think it's indeed a pleasure, and I think it's absolutely groundbreaking to be doing this kind of a scale of an event, and and being a part of it. So, to everyone, this is the last session of the day, but it's definitely going to be the most interesting session of the day. So, a very, very warm welcome to NASSCOM International SME Conclave 2020. I'm sure if you've been watching this, we have had a record turnout of 1,000 plus SMEs, 350 plus CIOs, and a fair amount of international community as well. The timing of this, conclave could not have been better. Given the fact that we have had the misfortune of the COVID, pandemic all across for a number of months, and we've successfully pivoted ourselves, in terms of the way we work. The role of SME sectors is probably the most important, that it has ever been. And as we all know, NASSCOM has about 3,000 members, and about 2,500 are SMEs. So they form the backbone of the tech sector to a great extent, and the role probably is very, very critical. Let us look at how that is the case. In terms of the tech sector, we are so proud to be a part of the tech sector. At the current juncture, with the tech sector, pivoting and probably performing an even more critical role, and we can all see it all across us, whether it's maintenance of critical healthcare infrastructure, in terms of hospitals, edutech, as well as working on the development of vaccines, and I can go on and on. And the tech sector has really, really raised the bar in terms of the work that we are doing. In this phase, there is one thing which comes out very, very prominently is the fact that the growth is happening in terms of digital transformation. Whether it's artificial intelligence, cloud platformization, and it's being driven by customer expectation, operational efficiencies, need for revenue growth. And in this context, the SMEs, probably for them, the barriers to entry are far lesser than it has ever been. And why is that? Because they are more agile, and they have been able to pivot very well. And we at NASSCOM, continue to focus a lot on international engagements. And just in the recent past, we've done, country sessions with the United States, UK, Canada, Germany, Japan, and many other countries. And the appetite, especially from the second quarter for the SMEs have been phenomenal. And I'm so glad to see this appetite to grow. And each company that I've spoken to have all said that yes, they need to be more efficient. They are pivoting, but all of them are pretty positive in terms and optimistic about the growth that is going to happen. Now, in terms of key triggers of growth, market access is obviously the number one trigger, and everyone is very, very keen to see how they are able to identify opportunities and look at accessing those markets, including ease of doing business. Access to technology, access to talent, and working with startups and large companies to provide a kind of engagement model with enterprises is something which we are seeing growing day by day. In fact, a large number of our large companies are all very, very keen to work with startups as well. So I think that is another model that we are seeing growing quite rapidly. One of the models that we at NASSCOM have seen working quite successfully has been a launchpad that we are looking to create, and we have created in certain geographies. And this is a low-cost incubation setup where you have all the facilities, including Ecosystem Connect, so that SMEs can feel the market, understand the market, and once they start growing, then they obviously decide to put in more money and expand. And I think I want to mention this because at this juncture, I want to kind of look at the global parameters, and we are an export-driven industry. Out of 190 plus billion dollars, nearly 147 billion dollars is exports. US is about 60%, UK is about 17%, continental Europe is 11%, Asia Pacific is 8%, and the rest of the world is about 2%. For us, we want to grow in the developed markets and we want to diversify. So, no better than today because we have, let me introduce an amazing set of panelists that we have for the session today. And they cut across a number of countries, including Canada, Japan, Germany, Sweden, and they are going to provide their thoughts on why we should be focusing on some of these markets. And the way we want to go about this whole process is we will have an introductory 3 to 4 minutes session provided by individuals to talk about their market in terms of the technology landscape and explain why they think their market is an interesting one. And the next part of the 4 to 5 minutes will be on a particular case study in terms of success as to what were the kind of key triggers which drove companies to look at those markets. Before I kickstart, I just wanted to request each of the speakers to ensure that they are within the time limit because we have to absolutely stick to the time, and maybe we'll point it out to you. And also, I did mention some of the key triggers in terms of what companies are looking at, and I'd be grateful if you could spend time on that. Given the focus that companies are looking to establish in some of these markets. Now, as I'll stop here in terms of the context, and can I now request, without any particular order, but Andrew Smith from Canada, who is the Minister Commercial and High Commissioner of Canada, to provide his initial inputs. And then focus on the case study that he has. Over to you, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Shivendra, and good to see you again. And good evening to my friends and colleagues here in India and to my fellow panelists. The Canadian Trade Commissioner Service greatly values our collaboration with the National Association of Software and Service Companies in highlighting the advantages that Canada offers to today's globally minded Indian SMEs. These last few months have not been easy for any country, Canada and India included. Economies and societies around the world have had to adapt quickly to these new global realities brought about by the COVID pandemic. But we have seen the resilience in the human spirit, whether it's global PPE production or vaccine co-development. The message is, we are in this together. And just in that manner, we have figured out a way to meet to do business, to continue to trade, and to continue to invest. In fact, the Canadian province of Ontario has today more jobs in manufacturing than before COVID arrived. So now is not the time for inward-facing business decisions, but to look globally. And Canada and India have guided the rebuilding of our economies through the COVID crisis, through regular prime ministerial and ministerial engagements, to business connections, and to industry linkages. Canada is committed to strengthening the investment relationship between our two countries. So did you know that our economic partnership now exceeds $85 billion in economic exchanges? The Canadian portfolio investments in India have grown substantially over the last 5 years and have now reached $60 billion by our estimates. Two-way foreign direct investment between Canada and India reached $3.5 billion, and Indian investments in Canada focused on priority sectors which include ICT, automotive, aerospace, infrastructure, financial services, and oil and gas. Two-way trade and services reached 5 billion, and now Indian students are the single largest contingent to Canada's international student body and helping to contribute to the Canadian economy. It is, my friends, an $85 billion relationship, and we only have room to grow. So Canada is ready to help you establish, grow, and scale your companies in Canada. So to your question, Shivendra, what does Canada offer? Canada offers Indian SMEs the critical infrastructure that they need to thrive and grow globally. Canada is a diverse and inclusive economy. It is a talented and skilled workforce. In fact, we're the most educated workforce in the whole world. We have accessible programs to enhance and boost innovation. We have an expansive infrastructure, generous tax incentive. Canada is a global base and the only G7 country with trade agreements with the other G7 members. And it offers you a stable, predictable economic landscape with open access to the world. We are an open-minded, tolerant, welcoming, rules-based, and a truly diverse people. Did you know that this year, in 2021, Canada will welcome 400,000 new immigrants to our country? That's 10% of our population in new immigrants. Canada is fostering an innovative ecosystem that connects foreign and domestic ingenuity with initiatives, incentives, and funding programs. Several years ago, we launched a dynamic supercluster program that really catalyzed the collaboration between industry, academia, and government. These 5 tech superclusters centered around AI, digital industries, advanced manufacturing, proteins, and ocean tech directly support companies choosing to innovate in Canada through closer market-facing collaborative partnerships with academia and Canada's government. Locating your business in Canada also opens the doors to the world markets for you. Canada has 14 trade agreements with 51 countries. That's a combined GDP of over $50 trillion. As an Indian investor in Canada, you would then be able to have potential access to 1.5 billion consumers from your new base in Canada. Canada also has a wealth in talent when it comes to skilled workers. But we recognize that investors could want different tools. So we've provided to you an ability to bring in skilled workers from anywhere in the world you need and have them work for your company in Canada. We call this the Global Skills Strategy. And as an investor in Canada, we make it easier for you to attract the talent you need to your new Canadian base. Indian companies based in Canada can bring in top international talent to work for your company quickly and in the areas you need most. We also offer a world-unique startup visa program, which supports immigrant entrepreneurs to establish businesses in Canada by allowing them select foreign business owners and their families to apply for permanent resident status. In a nutshell, Canada offers global companies a location to make money and to minimize risks. It offers an incredible space to live, to innovate, to grow your business, and to become a world-class leader. The team I run here in India is the Trade Commissioner Service. We have 8 offices across key Indian cities with a team of 50 trade officers that are dedicated to supporting your business to invest in Canada and to do trade collaboration with Canadian companies. So maybe, Shivendra, I'll leave it at that for the time being and turn it back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andrew. I really appreciate it. And I think our members were able to get a good understanding of the offering that you had. So in the interest of time, what I'll do is, in no order of priority, maybe we can have, for Japan next with Swastik Kulkarni, who's the India desk head at JETRO. And then you can bring in Roshan, who is the marketing head of VYMO. To begin with, about 8 minutes for you in totality. Then we can go in with, Sweden with Vineet, Garg, who's the business head there, and then follow it up with Germany, Seema Bhardwaj, who is the director India for the same. So I'll be grateful if you could all stick to your timelines. And once we finish that, then we'll get into a Q&A session after that. So without much ado, Swastik, over to you.
Hello to everyone, and I'm Swastik Kulkarni from Japan External Trade Organization, that is JETRO. I am based at the JETRO headquarters in Tokyo as the in charge for India desk. India desk was established in the year 2016 exclusively to support Indian companies in Japan. And I, on behalf of JETRO, would like to thank NASSCOM for kindly making JETRO as part of this wonderful and unique opportunity. And I wanted to show this slide, but unfortunately, I'm not able to do that. So, a quick introduction about JETRO. We are an independent government agency. We promote trade India between Japan and the rest of the world, and we also help foreign companies to come to invest in Japan, and promoting FDI into Japan, and also supporting the open innovation between foreign companies and Japanese companies, and attracting foreign startups are the prime focus for the Japanese government. And talking about the network within Japan, we are present in 50 prefectures, that is 50 states, and then globally we are present in 76. We have 76 offices present in 55 countries, and in India we are present in New Delhi, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, and Chennai. So JETRO started this initiative called Invest Japan in 2003, and we provide mainly, I would say, there are three verticals to it. First is the facility, in which we provide free office space to our clients, which can be used for 50 days. And there is no, about the usage, we give full flexibility to our clients to use this 50 days according to the requirement. And then we also help you in understanding the rules and regulation of doing business in Japan, that is taxation, labor law, visa. We also create customized market reports. We also create, we also have industry experts from 11 sectors, which can, and then you can ask questions about them. The idea is to give more industry specific information to our clients. And then we also do business matchmaking. And in case of startup, we also help you in meeting Japanese VCs. And all these services comes to you at zero cost. There is absolutely no cost involved to that. And then there are close to 110 Indian companies which are operating in Japan. And as JETRO, we support both big corporates to startups. So they, and then from various industries. And talking about the Japanese IT industry, it is close to 950 billion US dollars as per 2018, and employs close to 4 million people. And still there is a huge shortage of IT engineers in Japan. So this is also a big opportunity for our Indian companies. And due to COVID, Japan is going through a phase of digitalization, thereby giving rise to new business opportunities. Things like work from home, online meetings are now quite a very common feature in Japan. And you will be surprised to know that the Japanese government is planning to establish a Ministry of Digitalization for expediting the overall process of digital adoption in Japan. And things like cashless payment, online education, online health checkups, agri-tech, and process automation and digitalization are providing new opportunities in Japan. And these things cannot be achieved without the help of foreign companies. And I had a wonderful slide to show you about the cultural difference between India and Japan, because I feel that Japan is a very unique country, and cultural understanding is equally important in order to be successful in Japan. So things like slow decision-making process, high commitment, long-term relation, bottom-up approach are critical part of Japanese culture. So please spend some time in knowing more about the country where you're planning to expand. With this, I conclude my presentation, and thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to learn and share. Pleasure being with all of you virtually. So I'm going to talk through, our journey expanding into Japan, and how JETRO has been a very valuable asset for us over the next 3 to 4 minutes. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or Twitter in case you have any other queries. I'll try to cover as much as possible in the time that I have. Right. Little bit of context with respect to VYMO. One second, please. All right. Yeah, so we operate in the CRM/Salesforce automation space. We deployed in about 60 plus large banks and insurance companies, and about 125,000 users, and we're funded by Sequoia and Emergence Capital. So that's all you need to know about VYMO. I won't bore you with the details, but do check out getvymo.com if you want to know more. Extending to Japan was a very obvious decision for us for more than a few reasons. So one is in our space, that is the CRM space, Japan is a very CRM mature market. So typically large enterprises have deployed some kind of a CRM, and considering we solve deficiencies in CRM, it's an obvious fit for us. We don't really have to explain a lot of the concept and so on and so forth. Then they also have a large base of financial services. It's the third largest insurance market in the world, and makes a lot of sense for us. And finally, what is really interesting is also that they have these open innovation programs in banks and insurance companies that offer a very good entry point into large organizations, right? I know there are similar initiatives elsewhere, but the Japanese take this very, very seriously, and we've benefited immensely from that specific point. This is, in a nutshell, what our journey has been like. We started expanding in September 2018, and since then we've consistently added sales, solutions, pre-sales, customer success folks to our team. We engaged with about 3 large insurance companies, very large insurance companies, and we have a bunch of learnings to show for that as well. What you are doing as part of the GTM also is to answer questions, right? Not just win customers, but really how you are relevant for a particular market and why they should choose your solution over something else, right? And we feel that at this point of time, we've distilled those learnings to sort of accelerate our growth in this market. And here are 3 broad suggestions that I would say in terms of expanding to Japan, what you should be mindful of. We've invested in building local capacity in Japan, which is, hiring local, people, professional, also growing through partner networks, and investing in, local communication as well. And it's paid rich dividends for us. That's something that I would definitely advise you to do. Second, and something that we've had to learn rather reluctantly, is the fact that, patience is very, very important in Japan. You can't really iterate very quickly. You can't really, do the usual fail fast sort of a startup logic there. You'll have to give it time, right? And the good thing is that once you are in, you are in for good, right? So you really have to invest a lot more, and which means that your support as such has to be for a longer period of time. So we are completely committed to the Japanese market. It makes a lot of sense for us based on a bunch of things that I just mentioned, right? It's not the kind of a market where you can really dip your toes and run with a hypothesis and then quickly figure out whether it works or not. It's really something that requires a lot of conviction. And also, considering that it's pretty expensive, I would say that you should really commit to the market as such in order to make the best of it, right? Last couple of slides. So these are a couple of events that we did in Japan, and would you believe it, the Indian chicken curry was a huge favorite with our attendees. All right, so let me cover quickly how JETRO has been of help for us. One, obviously, they have a ton of advice and insights. Really, when you're expanding into a new region, it makes a lot of sense to have someone like JETRO to help bridge those knowledge gaps as that, which they do fantastically well. And they're also able to translate some of these into more tangible elements like logistics and resources and things like that. It could be stuff like visa applications. It could be legal or banking work as such. We've found immense help with JETRO. And of course, marketing and promotions as well. When you're entering a new market, people don't really know you. They're really wondering, how they should be, how they should kind of trust you. And partnership with JETRO has helped us a great deal on that front. We were profiled in their economic report as a future unicorn, and that has been, a major credibility selling point for us. So that certainly helped. And a few other miscellaneous tips. Again, I'll share this presentation post the call, and probably you could circulate it. But in a nutshell, if you are expanding to this, if you are expanding to Japan, it's a very sophisticated culture. I would say you really have to invest in that culture, understand them, and learn to enjoy that experience to make the best of it, right? Like I did on my previous trip to Japan. So that's about it. So that's Kawakami-san, who's our sales leader for the region, high-fiving the presenter. So That's in a nutshell how our expansion journey has been in Japan. Do reach out to me in case you have any questions. Happy to take them.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak on this wonderful occasion. And I believe that SMEs today are really the backbone of the IT industry, especially in Sweden as we go ahead. And I will show you how the structure of industry in Sweden looks like. But SMEs really are the key factors in the industry. Now, Sweden obviously is not an emerging market from the economic point of view, but it definitely is an emerging market from the point of view of the access of Indian IT industries. It's not been penetrated yet. There is still a lot of ground to be covered. There's still a ton of opportunities for Indian companies to discover and to take advantage of. I will show you a small presentation about Sweden and Sweden as a gateway to the Nordics. So just let me put it quickly on the screen. I hope this screen is now visible, my presentation. So Sweden is basically what we term as the gateway to the Nordics, and Nordics are typically mainly the four countries of Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Finland, tucked up in the northern part of Europe, far away from many other locations. So generally, it's not in everybody's mind frame to really evaluate the Nordics, but it is really a big market, as you will see. The Nordic region is a $1.5 trillion economy in total. It's a huge market. It's the 10th largest economic area in the world. And Sweden is the largest country in this region with a economy of more than $550 billion. So it is really a big economic power. And if you look at Sweden and Nordics is all about creating big brands which punch above their weight. So these countries, however very small, give rise to a phenomenal number of multinational corporations of brands which are globally known, and globally probably they are the leaders in each of their segments that they represent. I'm sure you would have had heard the names of IKEA's, H&M, which are from Sweden, Lego and from Denmark. You have Volvo again from Sweden. You have ABB, which is part Swedish, part Swiss now. And Nokia coming from Finland. You have companies like SKF, which is the largest ball bearing company in the world. Tetra Pak, everybody knows the packaging in which we have juices, the fruit juices coming in. That's Swedish. Tetra Pak is actually the name of the company, not the product itself. And other industrial companies like Sandvik and Atlas Copco. We have from Denmark, we have a company called Maersk, which is one of the world's largest shipping container companies. So as you see that there are a large number of leading global brands from this region, which appears to be small, but is giving much larger in terms of value to the world. When it comes to market segmentation of the Nordics, for companies who are looking to do business in the Nordics, or for IT companies who are looking to target clients, we have more than 50 companies in the Nordics which have a revenue of more than $10 billion annually. It's a big number. 50 companies having a revenue of more than $10 billion, and more than 250 companies which are in the $1 billion club. They have revenues 250 companies having revenues more than $1 billion each. So again, these are very large numbers. Sweden obviously is the larger, but then we have countries like Denmark or Norway also contributing in a big way to these companies. And the SME segment is very large, and we have more than 3,000 companies having a revenue of more than $100 million annually. So if somebody is looking to target companies which are in the region of, say, from 100 million to less than $1 billion for the products and services, then you have a pool of more than 3,000 companies to look at. And there are more companies in the Forbes 2000 list in the Nordics than in Germany or Netherlands. So it's an important area of Europe. Coming to the IT market, the Nordic IT market itself is also pretty big and mature. It's something that started way back in the 1960s, 70s with the computerization. And now it's a very, very mature IT market. And they spend a lot, and roughly around 4 to 5% of the GDP goes into IT, which is a very high number. So total Nordic IT spend is estimated to be $66 billion annually, out of which 27 billion is spent on IT services and BPM. The rest is spent on hardware and packaged software and other things. But 27 billion is spent only on IT services and BPM. It's got a strong growth rate of 3.1% CAGR, and BPM services are growing even faster at 8%. In terms of share of the total IT spend, Sweden is again the largest contributor to this, with 40% of the overall market being captured by Sweden. So if you look at total 66 billion as the market, so 40% of it goes to Sweden, which will be around 26, $27 billion of IT spend in Sweden. And again, if you look at the IT services, Sweden will be roughly more than $10 billion in IT services spending annually. In IT services, like I said, typically, which is $27 billion, roughly accounts for 37% of the total spend, and BPM for around 4%. Rest is hardware, software, products, personnel costs. One thing that is very, very critical and is of concern to the industry in Sweden is that there is a critical shortage of IT skills in the region. There is a lack of people, there is a lack of skilled people. The industry is growing very fast. There are a lot of startups, there are a lot of big companies. There is always a demand for skilled people, which is not available. And the industry forecasts a need for 70,000 people by 2022. And this need is already started, it's already there. And one of the key areas that Sweden is looking at to fulfill this gap is how to look at India as a source for bridging this gap. So here we have a very good opportunity for all Indian companies who are wanting to set up business, is to set up business there, send people onshore, take projects offshore, and kind of bridge this gap, because this gap is real. We have also, there are multiple reports available, very detailed, which talks of the technology skills that are needed. If you see, software and system developers are the most in demand and, most in shortage. You have even digital leaders, IT managers are in shortage, project managers.
Mr. Garg, due to paucity of time, I would request you to please wrap it up.
I'm just finishing off in like 30 seconds.
That will be great. Thank you so much.
So quickly coming towards the end of my slides, doing business in Sweden. Sweden is the #1 country, best country for doing business, as in Forbes by 2017. Some of the other reports may give it #2 or #3, but it's definitely always in the top 10. If you want to set up a company, it's very straightforward system. You don't need any local partner. You have to put in very little capital, no restriction of foreign ownerships. You can own the whole company. Same legislations apply for domestic or foreign. The tax rate, people think Sweden is a very, very high tax country. That may be true for personal taxation, but not for corporate. It's only 20%, and as you see, it's much less than many other countries in Europe. So 20% flat corporate tax, no other taxes. How do we help? We provide all information regarding company formations, rules, regulations, whatever is statutory in nature. We provide advice on visas, work permits, labor laws. We can help you find out space for office. We provide you sector-specific reports and market information depending on which vertical you are targeting for your services. We introduce you to service providers like accounting firms, legal advisors. We work with agencies like NASSCOM to arrange delegations and seminars for markets in these markets for Indian firms. If you are comparing between various countries in Europe or other regions, we help you benchmark Sweden against it, and we provide you authentic data and advice which are not driven by commercial interest. And all this comes to you as free of cost. And in the end, I just leave you with a with a figure of the Nobel Prize ceremony in Stockholm, which again, the Nobel Prize is Swedish. So thank you so much.
Okay, a very warm welcome from my side to all of you. So we are, just a moment, I think, yes. So today we are going to talk about business location Germany. And thank you for this invitation and inviting me here. I'll just quickly go through 3 aspects in my presentation since we are in paucity of time. So we are talking about what GTAI is, why Germany, and a short overview about the German ICT market. So German Trade and Invest is the economic development agency of the Federal Republic of Germany. And we see ourselves as facilitators who support German companies in their international businesses and foreign companies looking to locate to Germany. So how we do it, we are present worldwide in 50 countries. And in India, we have 2 offices in Mumbai and in New Delhi. So for the investor consulting part, which is of relevance to you, we provide information about the market. Industry analysis also provided by our industry experts. We also give you market entry analysis and also legal information and for the information you would require, the tax and labor laws is also provided our country experts. Also, we provide information regarding funding and financing, which is of relevance once you are entering the market, all the grants which are available. So why Germany? There are many reasons for Germany, and we have listed a few here. So Germany is the latest investment location worldwide. The government has moved swiftly to counteract the corona crisis, introducing a far-reaching package of financial measures to safeguard health, jobs, and economy. Economic activity is picking up again, and a strong increase in GDP growth in 2021 is already expected.
Seema, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think, there has been a challenge in terms of, your presentation freezing.
Okay.
Do is, we'll get into a Q&A and I'll probably ask you the first question without the screen, that, we are able to compensate your speaking time as well. And can I request, others to join in? I'm conscious of time. We just have about, a bit less than 10 minutes or 9 minutes. We have a hard stop at 15. So can I request everyone to join in so we can kickstart? Okay. So I think first of all, a big thank you to all our guests for providing an update on their region. And we deliberately chose a very diverse range of countries, and not the typical countries that we would focus on, which gives us and our attendees and our members a good hands-on understanding. Obviously, the whole idea is that we need to kind of you need to let us know, and we'll obviously look at connecting you and taking forward some of these discussions. So on that note, can I quickly start with Neha, because I know that she's probably been cut short a bit because of technology issues. But you did mention, Neha, that Germany has obviously worked very, very hard to counter the pandemic, just as many other countries have done so. My question to you is, how is the investment sentiment in your region during the pandemic, and how are you seeing that from a technology perspective? There is going to be an uptake on a technology demand in the pandemic, and what would that nature be? If you could answer this question in about 60 seconds and 1 minute, I'd be grateful.
I think you mentioned me. I'm Seema, right? So, okay, not Neha. Sorry.
Oh, no, I said Seema. So go ahead, Seema.
All right, good. Okay, thank you. All right. So, well, 60 seconds. And the thing is, Germany continues to be the top in the FDI 2020 index, as I mentioned. Is there few lined up? There's interest is still there and it's existing, but because of the pandemic situation and the technicalities with it, it is difficult for the companies to enter into the market. So we have a recent report from the American Chambers of Commerce as well, which they said they are still looking at Germany as a very important market, and they have topped them in their business location. So while the IT and services have benefited from the pandemic, COVID-19 has intensified the systematic crisis in mechanical engineering and automotive industries. Nevertheless, Germany as business location has shown its strength even during the crisis. Measures such as short-time work allowance characterize Germany as a business location, as does the rescue package for freelancers and medium-sized companies. So Germany is already looking at a significant increase in the economy next year. And digitalization, as I mentioned in my slides earlier, together with the demand of digitalization with the Mittelstand companies, continue to be a location to look at. There's a fit there.
Thank you so much. Vineet, next, you talked about, so many good things about Sweden and the Nordics. But we found it a bit of a challenge to, get everyone to look at Nordics. What would you think would help overcome these challenges? Again, 1 minute, and please stick to the timelines.
Yeah, so Sweden typically and the Nordics, like I said, is way up in the north, and people find it out of the way and difficult to look at. But I see it not as a location, but as a potential. And if you look at the potential is definitely there, as I explained by way of my slides. It's a huge IT market. So it's I say that it's more about educating the customer, educating the companies about the potential, and really talking to them and explaining how this region is, though it may be a bit out of the way, is really, really a big opportunity waiting for companies to come in. It's not a saturated market like US or UK. It's a very open market as of now. There are tons of opportunities for companies. So I think it is time for companies, Indian companies, to look at this, and that is the message we have to send across through our activities.
Thank you so much, Vineet, and thanks for sticking to the timelines. Can I now request, Swastik? You talked about cultural understanding and building local capacity as one of the key things in Japan. Japan is still amongst the top and the largest IT market, but penetration from India is very, very low. Again, in 60 seconds, can you highlight the top 3 things that we need to look at, to focus on Japan?
Sure. Thank you so much. First of all, the government is very much proactive now in having Indian companies, and that is the reason why I was transferred from JETRO India to Tokyo, and I'm heading the India desk. So there has been a paradigm shift in the overall image. There used to be a time when the Japanese company used to see only Indian IT companies as vendors, but now they look at the Indian companies as their potential partners. And I mentioned in my speech that there are close to 110 Indian companies, and most of them are playing a critical role right from the design and concept stage. And moreover, from the government side, we are also providing a lot of funds, subsidies for Japanese companies who are doing open innovation with Indian companies. So like this year, we have released a fund, and we have identified 10 companies, Japanese companies, who have identified an Indian partner, and they are going to create a completely new product which will be launched in the Japanese market as well as the global market. So the same will be done in the next financial year.
Thank you so much, Swastik. Can I request Andrew? Everyone is now talking about Canada. The earlier bugbear was that we now have a different administration in the US, and a lot of investments were coming to Canada. What is your take on the continuity and ease of doing factor to be able to attract SMEs into Canada?
Thanks, Shivendra. And what I would say is that we're a nation of SMEs. 99.8% of businesses in Canada are SMEs. So an Indian SME investing in Canada you will feel at home. We also have a significant Indian diaspora, so you will feel at home. And this year we will welcome 400,000 new immigrants to Canada. We will make those Indian SMEs feel at home. And I think, you talked about COVID and the impact, and I would maybe point that out to how Canada recognizes the importance of the SMEs and that they're the engine of job creation in Canada. So during COVID, we provided $82 billion to our companies for wage subsidies and loans, partly which will be interest-free, so they can keep companies running and they can keep their staff employed. So I think in a market like Canada, you have a very SME-centric administration.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know we had paucity of time, but really huge thanks to all the speakers, for sticking to the timelines. I think we've had an excellent session and a good understanding of various markets in this very short timeline. There could be an area where we talk about, access to markets. There could be access to technology. There could be, technology alliances, access to startups, and ecosystem connect. And I think across all these geographies, we were able to develop a good hands-on understanding of each of them. So a big thank you to our panelists for your contribution today. And very, very importantly, a big thank you to all our attendees and members who were there today, and also thanks to the SME Council and the team for organizing this. On behalf of everyone, have a good evening, stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.